Welcome, everyone. Let's kick off this first webinar organized within the ISACC project framework, a European cooperation project with Italy, Albania, and Montenegro. This first webinar is dedicated to the customs servants. I'm Francesca Cuna. I represent the Chamber of Commerce of Molise, one of the partners in the project. And I leave the floor to Anna Chiara Stefanucci, who represents the lead partner. And she's going to talk briefly, presenting the project, while I have the honor to introduce herself and her profile. Anna Chiara Stefanucci is a project manager with a multi-year experience in Italy and abroad in the sectors of fundraising, in the management and communication of international projects. Currently, she is coordinating European projects at the higher school in Puglia in the sector. I leave the floor to Anna Chiara, and I wish you can enjoy the webinar and the works. Thank you. Thanks, Francesca. Good morning, everyone. I really want to thank the entire team of the Molise Chamber of Commerce and Promos Italia for their support and the organization of these webinars, educational webinars that are going to be with us for today and then on November 18 and 22 within the framework of the activities of our ISACC project. As Francesca was saying, I coordinate the European Project Office of ITS Logistica Puglia, the lead partner of the ISACC project. I'd like to share a presentation with you, a presentation that starts with a description of our institute. Sorry, I cannot go on. Okay, let's see whether I can kick it off or not. So this is the presentation of our own institute. It is part of the ITS system, this segment of tertiary education in Italy, vocational training that promotes several post-diploma courses in the sustainability field. The degree is a higher level, fifth level within the European qualifications framework, and it is a foundation with participation of partners like universities, the University of Bari, the Polytechnic of Bari, several airports and harbors, plus several private parties and companies we work with to acknowledge the needs that are later translated into educational goals.
We are also active in the European projectation on different channels. We have activities on European information and European projects, in particular with the territory and the ISACC project in specific. It was financed thanks to Italy, Albania, and Montenegro. It was approved, so in the Transport Acts, a project which was started in 2020, when the pandemic started, with all the difficulties that that entails, but we were able to overcome them. And it's now coming to an end because the conclusion is set to end on the 31st of December 2022. So we're nearing the end. We're finalizing the last events. During these 2 years that have seen us on the forefront, this project has many partners. We have ITS as a lead partner. We also have the Salento University, a scientific partner, the Chamber of Commerce of Molise. We have the University of Montenegro and the Albanian Institute of Transport. Moreover, we also have associated partners who have given us much support in terms of content and feedbacks during these 3 years, the customs agencies of Italy, Montenegro, and Albania. The objectives are to define methodologies and processes that can digitalize and simplify the customs procedures. Thanks to macro activities, which in time have involved analysis of the state of art, procedures, and the legal aspects in customs aspects in the 3 countries, such as education, formation channels, and also the development of a platform which can be used to exchange data between the 3 countries in order to support the control procedures in the customs framework. The objective, therefore, is to develop this platform, which essentially wants to measure the invariances or to find slight variations between the goods in transit between the 3 countries through a series of data that is then processed digitally. The objective of the project.
Pronto? Non vi sento più.
Mi sentite? Can you hear me? I think there's some interference. Mi sentite, sì?
Io ti sento, Anna Chiara.
Chiedo scusa. Dicevo, c'è l'obiettivo principale è quello della
The main
definizione della
objective
cosiddetta customs
is to
footprint,
define the
quindi questo
so-called custom
identificatore
footprint.
finale, che è una sorta di
So a
scheda
customs
digitale che
footprint, a
include
sort of
appunto
digital
tutta una serie di
template
informazioni e di
where
parametri
all
che
kinds of
vengono
data and parameters
rilevati,
are
poi elaborati
put
attraverso
inside
queste
and then
tecnologie
elaborated.
di intelligenza artificiale. Da un punto di vista progettuale,
From an
le
implementation
macro
point of
attività
view,
sono ripartite in
the
alcune
activities are
work
divided
packages di carattere
into work
trasversale, quindi
packages,
afferenti alla management e alla comunicazione, e
which
poi
involve
in work
management and
packages invece
communication.
più tecniche,
And then we have more
che
technical
fanno
work packages,
riferimento un po' ai grandi obiettivi
which refer
prima
to the
citati
main objectives that I was talking about
del
before.
progetto in sé. Quindi da un lato la
So on one
creazione
hand, we
di
have
un
the creation
network di
of a
attori,
network
di stakeholder
of
pubblici e
stakeholders,
privati
of public
in
and
ambito
private
doganale, quindi
stakeholders
nella
in the
work package
customs
numero
department.
1. Questa work package ha visto
This first work package
la realizzazione di una serie di attività di
has
desk
seen the
research, come
implementation
dicevo,
of desk
sul
research
quadro di carattere
procedures
legale,
from
amministrativo
a legal
e
point of
più
view
operativo delle procedure doganali nei 3 paesi,
of
un'analisi delle
the customs
tecnologie
procedures and analysis of the
esistenti,
data
anche la
of the existing
somministrazione di
data,
questionari
and also the
alle
giving out of
cosiddette
questionnaires
agenzie doganali
to
per la
the
rilevazione
customs
di una serie
agencies
di fabbisogni che
in
sono
order
poi
to
stati tradotti
obtain
in requisiti
feedback.
funzionali nell'utilizzo della piattaforma stessa. Inoltre abbiamo sviluppato quello che originariamente
We
era
have also
definito un
developed
memorandum of
what was
understanding, che
originally
abbiamo poi mutato in una declaration of interest, un
a declaration
documento
of
che
interest,
diciamo ci è servito a
a
raccogliere
document
ulteriore
that
endorsement per
was
lo
used by us
svolgimento delle
to
attività
receive more
e in
funding for
particolar
these
modo per lo
activities
sviluppo della fase
and for the
pilota.
development of the pilot
Per
phase.
quanto riguarda il cuore del progetto, quindi
Regarding the core
lo
of the
sviluppo
project,
della
so the developing of the
piattaforma, si
platform,
tratta di un'attività che fa capo alla work
it's
package
an
numero 2,
activity that
che ha
is
visto
involved under work
innanzitutto
package number 2.
l'istituzione di un research
We
committee, quindi
implemented a
un
research
gruppo di
committee,
esperti
so a group of
designati da
experts
ciascuno dei
designated by
partner,
each of the
guidati
partners
dall'Università del
and
Salento nel
guided by
coordinamento
the
di
Salento
questa
University,
macroattività
who is the
insieme alla
coordinator
work
of this
package numero
activity.
3. In
Le due sottoattività afferenti a
the two
questa RP
sub-activities
riguardano da un lato il design
are the
della
design
piattaforma
of the
e
platform,
dall'altro lo sviluppo.
and on the other
In
hand, the
particolar modo
development.
lo sviluppo è stato poi
The
realizzato da
development
parte
was implemented
del nostro subcontractor
by
Advantech.
our
Conoscendo nel
subcontractor,
dettaglio
Advantech.
di questi due
I will not
aspetti,
be
perché
going into
saranno
much
poi
detail
trattati
because they
nelle
will be talked
relazioni
about
successive,
in the
curate appunto da
next
Università del
talks
Salento e da
curated by
Advantech,
Salento
che
University and Advantech,
andranno a illustrare più nel
who will
dettaglio
talk
proprio il
in detail
funzionamento
about the
della
functioning
piattaforma
of
stessa.
this platform.
Siamo attualmente impegnati in una fase di pilota
We are
che
now
serve
involved in a
sostanzialmente a
pilot phase, which
validare, a
essentially is
testare
used to validate
innanzitutto
and test
il sistema che è stato
the
sviluppato
system that
e
has
a
been
validare
developed
poi i
and to validate
risultati
the
diciamo
results
di questi test che
of these
riguardano un
tests
po' l'utilizzo del sistema, ma anche
that
diciamo le
involve the functioning
configurazioni,
of the
le
system and the
anomalie
configuration,
eventuali,
the anomalies too.
diciamo che il pilota da un lato ha riguardato
On one hand, the
l'identificazione
pilot was about
di
the
una serie di
identification
siti.
of a
Sostanzialmente ci
series
siamo
of
concentrati
websites,
sui 3 siti di Bar, di Durres
of sites.
e di Bari, sì, esatto,
We focused
per
on Bari
il reperimento di dati che
in
sono
order to
attualmente
receive
in
data,
fase di analisi,
which
e
are
lo
at the
sviluppo
moment
vero
being
e
elaborated,
proprio
and the
nel,
development
diciamo, in questa fase di sviluppo, oltre al
in this
test delle
development phase
funzionalità della
of a test
piattaforma,
of these
stiamo raccogliendo una
platform's
serie di
functionalities.
feedback che saranno poi
We're still
elaborati
collecting
in un
feedback,
report
and we
finale
will
da parte
elaborate them
dell'Università
in
del
a
Salento,
final
obiettivo di
report by
coordinamento anche di questa
University
work
of the Salento
package,
University,
e anche all'interno di una pubblicazione scientifica che
and we will also
rilasceremo,
publish it
in particolar
scientifically,
modo curata ancora una volta dall'Università del Salento, alla
curated
fine
by
del
the
progetto.
Salento University at the final
L'ultima
project.
attività è quella
The last
diciamo
activity
di capacity building,
is about
quindi
capacity building.
quella attualmente in corso, è un'attività
So
che
this is still
potremmo
going
definire
on,
di
and it's an
formazione
activity that
sostanzialmente, di
can be
potenziamento
defined
delle
of
competenze, comunque di
formation
condivisione dei
or
risultati
competences and
del
results.
progetto, e che ha visto una serie di attività preparatorie, quindi
There
con
are a series of activities,
innanzitutto la creazione di un team di
such as the
esperti
creation
azionati e
of a
predisposti da
team of
tutti i
experts
partner,
designated by all the
la
partners,
mappatura degli operatori cui
a
destinare questi
mapping of the
contenuti
operators
formativi, quindi operatori
who
dell'area
will
di
receive
programma,
these results,
e tutte le attività poi tecniche collegate insomma alla
obviously all the
piattaforma,
activities
allo sviluppo
connected to the
dei contenuti del
platform,
programma,
the development
di queste giornate
of its
formative,
contents,
e poi la delivery vera e propria, come dicevo,
and the
quindi
final
oggi c'è il
delivery.
primo
So
appuntamento
today is the
per il
first meeting,
webinar destinato ai funzionari doganali,
which
faranno
is
seguito
destined
altre
for
due
custom
giornate,
servants.
il 18 invece
But
il
then we will also have
22,
the 18th and the
destinate
22nd of November
a operatori privati
for private
che
operators
maggiormente siano attivi nell'area di programma,
who are more
e
active in the
saranno
program area,
incentrate sulle tematiche dello
and they will be
sdoganamento
talking about
digitale, l'e-customs e
of the
sfruttura risk management,
digitalization of
safety
customs.
and security, sempre in ambito doganale. Io ho terminato con la mia presentazione,
I have finished with my presentation.
resto disponibile anche per eventuali domande
If you have any questions, please don't hesitate
a
to ask me.
insomma, di tutte le relazioni a fine di questo webinar. Grazie.
Grazie Anna Chiara.
Thanks, Anna Chiara.
A questo punto passerei
I think I will
la
now
parola
leave the floor
a
to
Mattia Colucci
Mattia Colucci
per la prossima
for
presentazione.
the second
Mattia
presentation.
Colucci
Mattia
rappresenta
Colucci
l'Università del
is
Salento,
representing the
è
University of
l'altro
Salento,
partner del progetto
the other partner in the
quindi è
project.
un assegnista di ricerca presso
He
l'Università
is a research
di Salento,
fellow at the
Dipartimento di
University of
Ingegneria
Salento
dell'Innovazione.
Department of
È
Innovation
laureato in
Engineering.
informatica con
He
esperienza
graduated
triennale
in
in aziende
IT and
di
has worked in
eccellenza
multinational
internazionali e
consulting
svolge la sua
companies.
attività di ricerca nel
He
laboratorio
carries out his
CPS
research activity
Lab e
in
si
the
occupa di
CPS
progetti
Lab
nazionali ed
laboratory,
europei
working in
in
national
ambito smart
and
transport,
European
cyber
projects relating
security
to
and
smart
unmanned
transport,
vehicles.
cybersecurity, and unmanned
Mattia,
vehicles fields.
ti lascio la parola
Mattia, I leave the floor to you
buona presentazione.
and enjoy the presentation, of
Grazie
course.
Francesca.
Thanks, Francesca.
Condivido lo schermo.
I want to share my screen first. There it is. Good morning, everyone. In this presentation, we are going to talk about the goals of the IT platform that was developed within the ISACC project. The ISACC platform integrates data coming from heterogeneous technologies and systems already available to the customs authorities in order to provide a database containing the so-called custom footprint, that is the information and parameters of the freight to be transported. These custom footprints support the customs authorities during anti-fraud controls. The platform can then automatically generate alerts for the customs staff, and more in general, it provides useful outputs for the decision makers. The main features of the ISACC platform are as follows: collecting data from heterogeneous sources, different systems and technologies, checking the invariance of the information of the custom footprint in each intermediate stage, that is at customs control points, comparing scanner images to find any differences within the transported freight, and to conclude, checking any anomalies in the duration of the target trip. The set of acquired structured data within the ISACC platform represent the customer footprint account for the customer footprint of a specific target, such as a container with the related goods. The custom footprint of a specific target is created at the beginning of its trip, for instance, at the moment of when it is exported, and it is tracked until its final destination, that is, when import inspections are carried out. The data set that constitutes a custom footprint includes the data that can be acquired by the customs of the three countries, Italy, Albania, and Montenegro. The custom footprint consists of the following 25 fields, where we can find, for instance, the country of departure and of destination, the list of the freight, the weight of the products to be transported, but also the plate number of the vehicle used to transport the freights, the identification code of the seal placed on the container, any possible images that are captured by the scanner technologies at the customs offices, even the date when the target is inspected. So together with additional information that is useful to outline a target and identify it. So I think I finished the part related to the goals of the platform. So I would leave the floor to the next speaker. Thanks, Mattia. I want to specify that all the participants can ask questions, of course, to the single speakers by writing them in the chat box. At the end of the presentations, we can also launch a debate, and of course we can provide answers to your questions or doubts. Let's go on now. I want to introduce Danilo Martino, Senior Delivery and Project Manager, Digital Transformation Business Consultant, expert in business process management methodologies, techniques, and tools. He is representing Advantech SRL, the company that, in collaboration with the University of Salento, implemented and operated the platform. A couple of words on Advantech. The company operates within digital transformation context with data management and processes of product process development engineering, the organization and optimization of complex business processes, the design and development of highly interactive IT and app solutions and innovativeness. Danilo, the floor to you. You can start with your presentation. Yes, good morning, everyone. Thanks, Francesca. As Francesca was saying, I'm Danilo Martino. I will be presenting the technological platform developed within the project. I want first to share my screen. I hope you can see my presentation. Well, first, I want to present the architecture of the technological platform. The architecture has several components that are aggregated in a view of scalability. In short, the architecture is made up by components useful for the front-end part. That is what the user can view through an interactive portal that we are going to see together within short. And then a back-end part, which is the one you see here on the right of this slide, collecting all those components for operating and for the functionalities within the different applications in the platform. Particularly, in this architecture, you can see how the information starts and leaves from the front end. It is the specific component of the back end architecture receives it, which is that's the part that orchestrates the whole information. Then the other components in the system are actually questioned, and we have the very heart of it, which is the business process engine, which is the red part in the slide, which is used to operate the activities and tasks within the whole architecture. For instance, when the front end recalls an analysis activity of the information content, as we'll see soon, to compare, for instance, two or more custom footprints, both in terms of information content as in terms of image analysis, as we'll see, the information is sent from the front end to the business process engine that forwards this through the event management to the DSS, decision support system, that completes the activities in an asynchronous way and sends at the end of the execution the results to the engine that re-forwards it to the front end, hence enabling it for the visualization of the information content. To conclude, we have a component which is down below here in the slide, which is used to memorize and store the information content that we are filing within our platform portal within the ISACC project. All these components are designed in a scalability view to guarantee more effectiveness and efficiency in the execution of the different functions. Now, I want to go to the following step, which is the presentation of the technological platform of the ISACC project. The platform can be accessed through a first login page, and by logging in, several operators from several customs authorities, so the different countries involved in the project can actually access using thus the functionalities made available by the platform. Clearly, depending on the role and the position that the user covers, the same can access some functionalities or others. So there's customers, users profiling, and there's a layer of authorization allowing to channel the information content and to guarantee security within these systems. Now, I'll access the platform as admin to show all the functionalities. Admin is the role that, of course, has all the privileges and the permits. After adding and filling in a username and password, there I can access the homepage of the platform, which is a responsive platform. Hence, it can be viewed from all devices. It gets adapted to the device we are using because the technology used to develop the platform in this project allows to offer a number of functionalities which you can access independently upon the browser you're using. What do we see in the homepage? We have a number of links allowing access to all the functionalities offered by the platform. Just to collect them into macro categories, we have the first two functionalities, which we can see either from this main page or from the component list on the left. These two functionalities allow managing the users, while the three other ones you see here allow the management of all the entries that the portal controls, that is, all the functionalities related to the custom footprint. Actually, I have the possibility here to make comparisons between them. Last but not least, the logout that allows leaving the application control, going back to the main login page. By accessing again, I can access the first functionality, which is the one of the user creation. By clicking either on the menu, the list on the left, or on the tile in the home page with the create user functionality, and the functionality is identified in the upper part of the icon, you can access view a screen where you can add the minimum information required to create a new user within the system. Clearly, the user we are creating is a user that can have access to the system since the moment it is created and shared, so with username and password until it is cancelled. The compulsory fields are as follows: name and surname, of course, of the reference person, the username and the related password, and the country of origin plus the reference email. These are all compulsory required fields. As a matter of fact, the system does not allow me to go to the end of the functionality until I have added all and until I have populated all the fields. Just to for information purposes, let's have test for the name. Username is test. In this case, the country, let's imagine that my new user is from Albania. Let's add fictitious email. The check which is made is the control and the check on the correct syntax of the email address. So there must be all those elements that characterize the email for it to be acknowledged as such, and then the password. Okay, of course, I'll add a fake password just to show that the operation can be finalized. The system offers an additional window for checking purposes before adding in the new entry, and by clicking on OK, here I see that the new user has been really created, and I can see that in the manage users page. So from this page, the page to create the user, the system leads me onto the second screen, which is the one that summarizes all the users currently included in the system. As regards each single user, through the functionalities made available in this table, I can actually do something more. For instance, I can change the information content previously entered in all its parts, clearly, but I can even erase the user. The first is a pencil that represents the change, and the second instead is the delete button. By clicking on this button, here I have again my check window, and I can, of course, click back. So I want accept the deletion of the user, or I can confirm its deletion. And after confirming the deletion, I cannot see the user in the list because it was eliminated from the portal, but I have an alerting notification system through which I can see the information and the alerts that the system proposes. Well, depending, of course, on the specific role that the portal is offering, the portal can complete only those activities that are specific for that role, which are classified by country of origin. So there's an admin role for Italy, an admin role for Albania, and one different for Montenegro, of course, and the admin staff in each country can, of course, perform specific functionalities for the own country of origin. Well, since I came in with a general admin profile, I can follow all the functionalities for all the users in all countries. So the role identifies the user's profile, identifies a set of functionalities the users can complete on the portal, and each role is classified by country. Hence, the Italian admin role can perform only functionalities on all data entered for Italy, and in the same way, the Albanian admin staff can administer and manage all the information, contents, and users and the custom footprints for Albania, and the same, of course, for the admin staff in Montenegro. My admin profile now is transversal, so I can follow all functionalities. After adding and creating the new user, we've seen how to manage the users, which is the screen I'm showing now. And again, it shows a list dividing pages. So I won't only have this number of entries in the portal, but I have more because pages can be scrolled down through a page system, which you see below here. The system also allows to understand and to define the number of entries I can view within the system. Of course, depending on the number of entries I can view, the page changes its structure, because if the number of entries is the total, of course, I will have one page only, but if I reduce the number as I'm doing here, you see that the structure of pages changes, and I can scroll through all the pages, collecting the information content, classifying them in 5 entries per page, as I have done so far. If I change the number of entries, of course, I can get to the top number, which is 15. Well, not only that, in these tables, and you'll see that all these tables follow the same methodological approach to somehow guarantee a user-friendly usage for the user. I can filter the users by populating the search keyword field on top right, and I just have to add a keyword there. For instance, if I choose operator, I have an automatic filter applied with the number of entries viewed within this table, with only containing those whose name or username or other fields contain this string, this keyword I have added. Clearly, if I go on the filter, better specifies the number of entries until it finds the reference specific that is perfectly matching the keyword added. If I remove details, clearly the list gets updated according to this functionality, hence matching the keyword and the content within the table. Let's now go on with the rest of the functionalities relating the management of custom footprints. The first functionality is that inserting the custom to insert the custom footprint in the platform. This can occur in 2 different ways, which we can see in this screen here. The first is through a CSV file, the section on top, which we are going to show within short. The second functionality instead allows entering a custom footprint through a form. What's the difference between the 2 typologies? In the first one, with the CSV file, you can add from 1 to a number of custom footprints through this functionality appropriately specified within a CSV file. Following instead the part below in the page, the form, you have to fill 1 custom footprint per time by populating this form, as we will see within short. Let's start from the upper part that specifies the functionality through which we can actually insert several custom footprints through the CSV format file. First, the system allows you to download the template to be used to exploit this potentiality. So by clicking on download the template, we have the download of the reference template. I'm simply opening it. I double clicked on the file that I have downloaded from the portal. The system is opening the Excel file. Okay. A few seconds to open the Excel file. Here it is. After I have downloaded the Excel file, I have the possibility to open it and to read its content. The content of this Excel file is divided into 2 tabs. The first, instruction, as you see below here, that represents a user's manual to be followed and complied with specifically. The instructions are given in this first part of this first sheet named instruction. So by specifically complying with the given instructions, you have the possibility through the second worksheet, that is the template worksheet, to enter the information content line by line that represents one custom footprint. The first line is an example. If I wanted to have a second one, I should do that in the second line and so on. The first line is devoted to the column titles. Column by column, you have here the titles of the fields representing the different parts of the information content, which we can also find in the section below here. So the Excel file has different columns where I have to enter column by column from column A to M, where I can enter the information. Instructions are very well detailed, and they specifically give the type of data, the format of data, and syntax and semantics of each single data that the system allows adding, and also some best practices on how to create the file in CSV format. Let's remember that CSV is the only format allowed for import to enter data through the upload file procedure. Other formats, of course, are not allowed, so they will originate a system error. Clearly, if this information is this instruction is not complied with, anomalies could come up, because it is really important that data is entered in the correct way, because in the same way the data entry activity for the analytics to be performed through the artificial intelligence tools we have available. I'll show you an example which we have prepared so far, which is as follows. I have created through this procedure an entry example. This is my own CSV file, which I have populated. Of course, complying with the syntax and the semantics of the first tab instructions in the Excel file, and then I import it. I'll be back onto the platform. I use the second button, Upload CSV, and by clicking on it, the system allows me to choose through the file or find window in the operating system, and I can find there the most appropriate CSV file. Of course, I'm highlighting this one, which is the one I have just shown. I'm opening it. The system allows me to read a message through which I can understand what the system is doing. And by clicking on Upload, the system leads me onto a page where I can see the information content I had added into my CSV file. It's exactly the same. I can understand that from the MRN column, which is exactly the same, and declaration of code here. It's exactly the same I had added into my CSV file. Let's imagine we have a few of them. The table is reporting all the CSV files, well, all the records in the CSV file, and the table, which is similar to the one we have seen before, can be also filtered, and the functionalities for the table are always the same. So filtering through the part on top here, right, or the page show below. Here in the example, we only have one, and on this custom footprint, I can perform a number of actions. The last one represents the fact that the entered custom footprint is not containing all the information contents. Hence, by working with the other actions, it must be edited and changed before being entered. The system will not add in any custom footprint if it is not appropriately populated and it does not comply with the instructions that were defined in the platform. So I can see the custom footprint here. This is the information content I have added, but I can also edit it by clicking on the button below here on the right. By clicking on the button, I can access the editing page of the custom footprint, through which I can edit the information content and possibly I can add in and populate the missing fields. I am now adding in content to complete all the sections and fields. And of course, I can also upload an image. The image upload is quite an important part because the uploaded images allow us to make comparisons between the scans made by each single customs authority. In this example, I want to access back to my upload view. And of course, we're going to have a custom footprint for Italy and one for Albania, and we'll upload both to show the functionalities. So I'll pick the image of a scan performed on a lorry in Italy. So I'll open the image. Here it is reported in the system as an uploaded image, and by clicking on save, the system actually automatically saves the content of the whole. Now, after saving it, I can re-access the visualization screen, and I see that all the parts have been populated. And by clicking, for instance, on the image, I can see the very same image. Now, clearly, I am just simulating as I had advanced. We are simulating being at an Italian customs office. So we have a custom footprint for an Italian customs office. So this is a scanned image, an image, for instance, taken at an Italian customs control, which is valid for this specific example. Now then, I can delete the custom footprint. I won't do that, of course, otherwise I have to repeat from the beginning, but I can confirm here, or I can be back to my initial screen by clicking on Upload CF. The system, through the alerting system we have available, the platform suggests that my custom footprint is added into the system. As a matter of fact, I have my custom footprint entered as the Italian customs, and I have it within this page, which is the one that summarizes all the custom footprints present within the system. Here again, the table offers the same page structuring functionalities and the same keyword search. Of course, now I can see all of them because I am the global system administrator. If I had access to the platform with the admin role for the Italian customs, for instance, I would only visualize. I can see all of them, but I can only work and function on the custom footprints created for Italy. I would only visualize all the other ones, those from Albania and Montenegro, for instance. Let's go back to the CF insert page to show the second functionality. The first one, the import CSV file, has already been seen. The second, the one using the form to enter one custom footprint per time. The form summarizes the information content I have to populate, and hence by Okay, I'll use an example which is simulating the entry as if I were an Albanian customs office. I'm trying to fill in this form with some information content, which of course I had prepared for this case specifically, and I'm thus populating all the sections and the fields in my form, the declaration code, place, of course, I'll choose Albania. Now I'm simulating, I am an operator, a servant, a custom servant in Albania. Loading list, I'll add this information content, total packages, 10. Country of departure, Italy, and destination is AL, Albania. Place of loading, and then the information content here in terms of gross mass, 3,440, the same for net mass value, 1,800. Now I populate these two more fields. Perfect. As for the date, let's have June to go with the entry I added in before, so June 9 here. At this point, as CF type, I have document controls, scanner control system, and so on. To conclude, I'll upload an image. I could even enter notes, but I'll upload an image choosing this picture, this image here, and by trying to have it larger compared to the previous one, it offers a different view, and the scanner of the lorry made in Albania shows that the content present is different. Now, by clicking on save and by accepting the system alerts, the platform suggests the fact that this custom footprint too was appropriately entered. I can have it again within the table and the list, which I can filter through the search keyword functionality. As regards the entries in this table, I'll try to reduce the visualization so we can have a full view of it. We have the information content, which can be ordered following the fields that are present in the table. And on the right, I have a table with all the actions possible. That is, all the actions and functionalities I can perform on that specific line. By clicking on the button, you see I can perform these actions for each custom footprint, for each record I have entered, and which is present in the system, if and only if I have the role and permit to perform them. So by accessing as an operator or as a system administrator, for instance, for the Italian customs, I can perform these actions to edit and delete the Italian custom footprints. If I were the Albanian or Montenegrin customs, instead, Of course, this applies to all the entries made in Albania or Montenegro. Let's have a look at a custom footprints list. This is the entry screen, but populated with the information content, which is specific of that custom footprint entered. I cannot change it. I can see the information content. I can zoom the image that was uploaded. I can edit the custom footprint by clicking on the edit button, or I can delete it. An additional action I can perform when I choose a reference line, of course, I can analyze, hence I can access a specific analysis page related to this custom footprint by clicking on the last item in the Analyze CF menu item. What I have here is an analysis page of this custom footprint that allows adding the path, the trip that the freight has followed during the different steps. And here we have a map which is going to summarize, visually summarize the path that the freight has followed step by step. Let's try and exploit this functionality by clicking on the Add Path button. So here, I'm simulating, I am the Albanian customs servant. I add, and actually I did that on the custom footprint, which was simulated as being entered by the Albanian customs. I am clicking on Add Path, and the screen I have here is a modal that allows me specifying the country of origin and the country of destination, the city of origin and city of destination, the dates, and one additional information content, which is the custom clearance time in minutes. Of course, it is to be expressed in minutes as suggested by this label in the field. So I'll add Italy here because the country of departure of origin is Italy. I'll choose Lecce as the city of origin. I'll specify the date, June 8, which is the one we have used for the entry, and here as timing, I'll choose 6:15 p.m. So date and time. As for customs clearance time in minutes, I'll report 60 minutes.
A questo punto eseguo l'inserimento anche
So now I will insert.
la destinazione, quindi l'arrivo.
So the destination, I will put Albania. I will select the city, Duras, obviously the port.
La data come data.
As a date, I will use the 9th of June, so the day after, with regards to the departure. And for the time, I will put 9:15. So this is just an example. This is to show you how to use the functionalities of inserting data and time. Regarding custom clearance time, I will put 2 hours, 120 minutes. I now click on Add. And by adding this path, the map given by the system, I'll try to zoom out to give you a clearer picture.
la traccia che è stata disegnata
You
sulla
can see the
mappa,
map that has
che
been
rispetta
given by the portal,
effettivamente
and it respects in every way
il luogo di partenza e il luogo di
the
arrivo. Vedete,
departure
da
city
Lecce è
and the
stato
arrival city. So from
disegnato,
Lecce,
tracciato sulla
we have
mappa
this line on the
il
map.
percorso. A
You can
questo
see the
punto,
path.
arrivato nel porto di Bari,
Once
il
arrived in the Bari
tragitto
port,
fino al porto
this is the
di
line that
Osso in
connects
Albania,
to Albania.
ingrandendo effettivamente il percorso è questo.
You can see
Cosa
the path.
succede? Io ho impostato, vi ricordate,
So I
dei
have set
tempi,
times.
ho impostato dei tempi, ovvero una data e un orario di
So a date of
partenza,
departure
una
and a
data e
time
un
of
orario di
departure
arrivo,
and of
che
arrival,
hanno prodotto nel
which have
totale
produced
un numero di
a total
ore
time of
pari a
travel.
14 fra
So
la
14 hours of
città
travel
di partenza
between the city of
quella
Lecce, the
e il
departure
punto di
city,
arrivo.
and the
Questi
arrival
tempi
point.
comprendono
These
chiaramente i
times
tempi
cover
di sdoganamento
also the
che ho
clearance
inserito.
time
Il
that I have
sistema però
inserted.
offre una funzionalità in più,
But the system also has
ovvero i
a further
tempi
functionality.
stimati, e
So
cioè
the
i
estimated
tempi
time,
che grazie a
that is
delle
to say,
funzionalità di
thanks to
localizzazione
functionalities of
sulla mappa,
localization on the map,
il sistema permette di
the system allows
tracciare
us to
andando ad
trace
identificare dei tempi medi di
and
percorrenza.
identify medium path
Chiaramente questi
times.
tempi medi di percorrenza
Obviously,
sono
these times
calcolati e gestiti dal sistema e
are managed
offrono
by the
un
system and
ulteriore
offer a
parametro, che è il
further
numero
parameter,
di ore che il
the number
sistema
of hours
stima
that the system estimates
come numero di ore sufficienti e necessarie per
as a sufficient number of
partire
hours
dalla destinazione
to
e
depart from the
raggiungere l'arrivo.
arrival to the departure and to arrive.
Questa differenza fra
So
il
this
tempo
difference between
inserito dall'utente e il tempo
the time
stimato
inserted
mi
by me
permette
and the estimated
effettivamente di
time
capire
allows us
eventuali
to
delay,
understand
eventuali ritardi o
potential
anomalie
delays
nel
or
percorso
anomalies during the path,
che effettivamente potrebbero esserci
which could
grazie
have
proprio a
occurred
questo calcolo di
thanks
differenze
to
tra
this
tempo stimato e
calculation by the
di
difference between the
percorrenza
estimated
reale.
and the correct
Questo
arrival time.
dettaglio che vi ho appena
This
comunicato
detail
è
that I've just told you
effettivamente
about
espresso dal grafico che troviamo qui
is shown
sotto,
also on this
che
graph that we can
permette
find here,
di, a
and it
sinistra
allows us to,
abbiamo
on the
il tempo
left,
stimato,
we
vedete
have
c'è
the
anche
estimated time.
una legenda in alto,
You can
e a
see
destra invece
the
il
graph
tempo reale.
explained,
Quindi
and on the
permette
right
di
we have the
comprendere
real
anche
duration.
visivamente, oltre che
So you can also
numericamente,
visually
grazie
see
a
it
un algoritmo che il sistema
thanks to an algorithm that the system offers.
offre agli utenti, permette di evidenziare
This
queste
allows us to
differenze di
underline these
tempo fra
differences
il
of time
tempo, ripetiamo, il tempo reale
between the
impiegato,
real
quello che ha
travel
inserito
time
l'utente, e il tempo stimato dalla
and the
piattaforma.
estimated time given by the portal.
Torniamo a questo punto alla lista
Let's go back
CF
to the custom footprints list
per accompaniarvi nella spiegazione
Let's talk
dell'ultima
about
funzionalità
the last
che la
functionality
piattaforma propone, che è quella di
which the portal
confronto
offers,
fra
that is
due
the
custom
confrontation
footprint
between two
inserite,
custom
fra due o
footprints,
più custom
two
footprint
or
inseriti.
more
In questo
custom
caso,
footprints inserted.
diciamo, come piattaforma è stato previsto un numero massimo di 3 confronti che si
The platform
possono
only allows 3
eseguire,
confrontations at the
ad
same
esempio
time.
per una custom footprint
For
inserita in
example,
Italia, un'altra
for a
in
custom
Albania e
footprint inserted
un'altra
in
in
Italy, one
Montenegro.
for
E il
Albania and one
sistema
for
permette
Montenegro,
di
for example.
confrontarle
And the system
una ad una,
allows you to confront
evidenziando
them and
sia ciò
underline
che è uguale,
the
oppure ciò
same
che è
things or
parzialmente differente, cioè con
what
una
is slightly
percentuale
different.
di differenza minima, oppure ciò che è
The difference
evidenziato
percentage could
come
be
una
small or
differenza
also high.
sostanziale rispetto al contenuto informativo di due entry messi a confronto. Per accedere a questa funzionalità,
In order to access this
per
functionality,
esempio, utilizzo
for
il filtro di
example,
ricerca,
I will
giusto
use the search bar.
per farvelo rivedere, per farvi rivedere il funzionamento.
I'm doing this to show
Per
you
esempio,
again.
inserisco
For example, if I insert AA 754
IT,
IT,
che sono poi le entry che
which
ho
corresponds to the entries
inserito
that I have inserted
una
before,
da import file CSV e l'altra da format,
one from the CSV format
che
and
sono
the
le
other
due
from the
custom
other way of
footprint,
uploading.
una inserita
So the
come se
two
fosse
custom
la
footprints
dogana
I
italiana e
inserted,
l'altra nell'esempio
one from
come se
Italy and
fosse
one from Albania.
la dogana albanese. Voglio metterle a confronto
I would like to compare
perché
these two
ho
custom footprints
identificato
because
questo
I have
come
identified
dato di filtering, che ad
this data
esempio noi
as
immaginiamo,
a filtering
visto che
aspect.
l'abbiamo inserito, rappresenta per noi la targa
This obviously
del
represents the
veicolo
plate
utilizzato
of the
per il
vehicle
trasporto
used
merci.
for the transportation of the
Il
goods.
sistema, la piattaforma mi
The
filtra la
system
tabella
has
di riferimento
found
e
and
mi
filtered
propone
this table,
solo
and it gives me
quelle
only
entry,
these
quei
two
custom footprint
entries,
che
which
matchano
correspond obviously to the
esattamente
search word I have
rispetto alla
put.
parola chiave inserita, quindi quelle custom footprint per le quali la targa è esattamente la medesima. In
So you
questo
can see
caso
that
quella
the
di
trailer
inserita.
plate corresponds to the
A
search bar.
questo punto, andando a selezionare
So I'm selecting,
queste
I'm
due
ticking
voci,
these two custom
il sistema
footprints.
mi abilita la
The system
comparazione,
allows me to select them
offrendomi
and
un'ulteriore
to compare them,
funzionalità che permette eventualmente di ordinare
and I can also order
le
them.
entry e quindi le custom footprint, le entità che voglio confrontare tra di loro. L'ordinamento è quello corretto perché io voglio
The order is correct
confrontare
because I want to
la custom
compare
footprint italiana
the
rispetto a
Italian
quella
custom footprint compared with
albanese, in
the
realtà,
Albanian
quella
one.
albanese rispetto a
Actually,
quella
I want to compare the
italiana
Albanian one with the Italian
precedentemente
one
inserita per verificarne il
in
contenuto
order to
informativo
verify
che in Albania è stato
the
inserito
information
rispetto a
that was
quello
inserted in Albania
inserito
compared with the one inserted in Italy.
in Italia. A questo punto posso
So I can now click
lanciare la
on
comparazione.
Compare Selected.
Il sistema,
The
tramite
system,
le
through
procedure
this
di notifiche,
notification
mi
window,
suggerisce che la comparazione è
tells
stata
me that
avviata
the comparison
e
has been
quindi
started.
cliccando sulla voce specifica
So clicking
accedo
on the
ad
specific
una,
entry, I will
ad una
access
schermata di
a new
riepilogo
window which
di
summarizes
tutti i confronti, di tutte le
all the
comparazioni, di tutti i
comparisons
confronti che nel mentre durante l'utilizzo della piattaforma sono stati avviati,
that I have done while accessing this platform,
evidenziando un valore
underlining
di riferimento importante che è
a
ad esempio
number
la data
of an important
piuttosto
number
che
of reference, for
l'MRN.
example, the
Il
date.
primo MRN
But you
di
can also
riferimento
have
che
the
è
field
quello italiano.
MRN
Dalla
underlined.
data capisco che effettivamente è
So
quello che
from the
io ho
date, I can
inserito
understand
perché mi
that the
riporta
ones
16
I have
novembre
inserted, because as you can
2022
see, it
ore
says
11 e
16th
13 del
November,
mattino
11:13 a.m.
e quindi accedendo
So I can
al
access
record
this
presente in
entry
tabella, ad esempio con la funzionalità di visualizzazione,
by
posso anche
clicking on,
eliminare
I can also
il
delete it,
confronto appena avviato.
but I can click on View
Il sistema mi
Comparison.
propone
The
un'ulteriore
system
schermata in
gives me a
cui
new
poter
window
visualizzare
in which I can see
effettivamente il confronto, quindi
the
l'esito
comparison
dell'algoritmo di
and the
analisi
result of the
del
analysis
dato, quindi del
algorithm
contenuto informativo
of the information
avviato in
that I
piattaforma.
started before.
Vi anticipo che c'è la possibilità di
There is also the
consultare
possibility of
tramite il clic
consulting
su
through
questa
this
icona di info
info
il
icon
contenuto informativo,
the
ovvero
information
la legenda che offre un suggerimento di come poter
and the
leggere i
explanation of the
risultati
graph on how to read these results.
dell'algoritmo di data analytics che il sistema offre, da uno degli algoritmi di data analytics che il sistema
So from
mette
one
a
of the
disposizione degli utenti.
algorithms that
In
the
particolar
portal
modo la
offers,
leggenda offre una rappresentazione
you
semantica
can
dei
see
colori,
that it represents a
ovvero
semantic
abbiamo con il
differentiation of
colore
colors.
bianco vengono
A white
evidenziate
color means there
le
are no
celle che non
differences
presentano
between the field information.
differenze rispetto al contenuto informativo di riferimento, giallo invece quelle che presentano
Yellow
lievi
represents
differenze e rosso
slight
invece quelle che
differences,
presentano grosse
and the red ones
differenze dal
represent
punto di vista del
big
contenuto
differences
informativo.
in the information between
Tenete
them.
presente che la lettura
Keep in mind
di
that
questo
the
esito
lecture of
viene
this
fatta in
result
questo modo. Nella
is done
colonna
like this.
di destra,
So on
scusate,
the right,
ho
on the
la
right-hand column,
custom footprint inserita
we
in
have the
Albania,
custom
in
footprint
quella di
inserted in
sinistra ho la
Albania,
custom
and on the
footprint
left, we have the Italian custom footprint.
inserita in Italia. E quindi viene l'algoritmo di analitica evidenzia
So the
con i
analytic
colori che abbiamo
algorithm
visto
shows you with
prima,
these colors
andando a
that we've seen
cliccare
here
sulla I di info, con i colori che abbiamo
by
visto
clicking on
prima,
the
va ad
info icon,
evidenziare le
will
differenze di questo
underline the
contenuto
differences
nella colonna di
of
destra
information
rispetto a quella di
between
sinistra.
right
Quindi in
and
questo
left
caso,
columns.
per la
So in
custom
this
footprint
case, you
inserita
can
in
see
Albania
that the
rispetto
custom
al
footprint
contenuto
inserted in
informativo inserito in
Albania
Italia.
is slightly different.
Con il bianco abbiamo
The white
evidenziati i
fields
record che non
show us
rappresentano differenze, in
no
giallo quelli che
invariances,
rappresentano
in yellow the one
differenze
where there are slight variances,
di differenze parziali, in rosso quelli che
and the
rappresentano
red
invece
ones
differenze
represent big
consistenti.
differences.
Quindi per esempio il declaration code è
So for
molto
example, the
differente
declaration
quello
code
inserito in
is
Albania
very
rispetto a quello inserito in
different
Italia,
from the Albanian one to the one
e la loading
declared in
list
Italy.
idem,
The
mentre
loading
abbiamo
list
total
is
package
the same
che è
thing,
uguale,
very
eccetera,
different.
eccetera. Notiamo
Whereas
per
total packages, for
esempio
example, are the same.
che
We can see
viene evidenziato come giallo
that there is a
una
slight difference
differenza rispetto alla massa
between the gross
registrata in
mass
Albania
registered in
da
Albania
quella evidenziata
and the one
in
registered
Italia,
in
come
Italy,
se ci fosse stato
as if there had been
una sottrazione della
a
merce contenuta
subtraction
del
of the
carico
goods
contenuto
contained in the vehicle
nel veicolo che ha trasportato la merce.
that transported these goods.
In effetti, nell'esempio che abbiamo provato
In
a
fact, in the
simulare
example that we tried to
in questo
simulate,
webinar, lo vediamo anche dalle immagini.
you
Vi
can also
ricordate, per
see it
l'Italia
from
abbiamo
the images.
inserito per
Remember
la
that for
sinistra
Italy, we put the image on the
l'immagine
left.
che rappresenta una merce, un auto-articolato a pieno
You can
carico,
see the
e
vehicle
quella a
which is
destra,
full,
ovvero in
and the one
Italia,
on the right, the
abbiamo
one in Italy,
registrato abbiamo inserito un'immagine, quindi in Albania,
we've
scusate,
inserted
abbiamo
in
inserito
Albania, sorry, we've
un'immagine su cui
inserted an
abbiamo
image.
registrato
So we've
una
uploaded
scansione che
this
invece
image that
presenta una
shows
merce
that the
inferiore
vehicle is
rispetto
not completely full compared to the one on the left.
registrato dall'Italia. Quindi nel passaggio fra Italia e Albania
So in
è
the
come se
passage
ci
from
fosse
Italy to
stato
Albania,
una
it's as if
diminuzione
there
del
had been
peso registrata effettivamente dal
a
sistema,
subtraction of
andando
the
ad
goods
evidenziare
registered
come
by the portal,
un
which shows you
dato
in yellow
leggermente
the slight
inferiore,
difference between the two
in
data.
Albania, che è la colonna di destra, rispetto al dato contenuto
You can see it on the right
registrato in
and on the
Italia.
left.
A questo punto,
At
oltre
this
questa
point,
visualizzazione di confronto fra stringhe, fra
we not only
contenuto
have this
informativo, il sistema
view
mi propone,
from the portal, but we
tramite un
also have
ulteriore algoritmo di
another
analisi del
icon and
dato,
another
mi
algorithm
propone il confronto fra le
that
immagini
shows us the
inserite
differences between the
in
images
Italia
inserted.
rispetto a quella inserita in Albania. Quindi andiamo ad eseguire questo controllo
So let's do this
cliccando sul
comparison by clicking
pulsante che
on
vedete al
View
lato di
Image
queste due
on
immagini,
the right-hand
View
corner.
Image Differences. Andando a cliccare e
So by clicking
attendendo
on
la
it,
conferma,
we have a
il
notification that
sistema
pops up.
mi suggerisce
The
la
system
fine, il
tells me
termine del
the
confronto fra le
conclusion
immagini
of the
tramite
comparison between
uno
the images
specifico algoritmo di
with a
confronto che
specific
va
algorithm,
a
comparing
definire quali
algorithm,
sono i punti di
which
riferimento e
defines
di similarietà
the
fra le
similarities between the
immagini,
two
e
images.
mi offre un
And you can see
risultato
that it gives me
che
a result,
rappresenta una percentuale
which
di
represents
similarità
a
fra le
97%
immagini. Questo è
similarity
importante perché
with
il
the
sistema
the first
potrebbe
image compared to the second
effettivamente
image,
non
because the
dal
system
sistema potrei
could,
non vedere guardando le
I could not be
immagini,
able to
potrei
see
non
simply looking at
accorgermi
the
per esempio
images
di
the differences between the two.
una mancanza della merce, perché magari potrebbe essere realmente una mancanza minima. Per
The
cui
difference could be so
abbiamo
subtle that I could not be able to see
optato
it
per
from the image.
l'inserimento di questo
So
algoritmo di
that's why we
analitica sul
inserted
confronto delle
this
immagini, proprio
analytic
per offrire un
algorithm
dettaglio
to
analitico
offer
che
a more
effettivamente
detailed
offre all'utente una
result, which
visualizzazione
gives the
puntuale della
user
percentuale di
a very
similarità,
specific
ovvero il
percentage
contrario della percentuale di non similarità che c'è fra le
of
immagini.
similarity between the
Chiaramente
two images.
l'algoritmo si basa su
Obviously, the algorithm is based
su dei descrittori di riferimento, e
on
quindi la
descriptors, on
procedura
reference descriptors. So
termina con
the procedure
una percentuale di similarità o
terminates
viceversa
with
di
a
dissimilarità.
similarity percentage
Andando
or
a
a dissimilarity
salvare
percentage. By
questo
saving
confronto,
this
ritrovo
comparison,
in una ulteriore lista
I
presente
will
nella
go
pagina
to another list
dei report
that you can find
di
on the side
confronto,
menu.
di
So
comparazione,
comparison reports.
che diciamo, propone il dettaglio di tutti i report salvati e quindi
And you can
archiviati
see the
sulla
ones that have been
piattaforma.
saved and archived.
Come detto, la piattaforma va a
As said, the
scanare, quindi va ad
platform
archiviare tutto il contenuto
archives
informativo
everything. And thanks to this functionality, I have the possibility of seeing these comparisons, obviously by filtering them and going in the search keyboard, and by clicking also on the detail of every line of the table. In the actions column, I can see view comparison or delete comparison. If I want to see the contents, I click on the eye icon, and it takes me back to this table in order to see the information inside. And once I have saved it, I can also look back on it in time. Not only can I see the information inside, but also the results of the comparison test. So the comparisons between individual lines of the custom footprint and the comparison between images inserted in the system. So all these results are archived on databases given by the platform and are therefore accessible in time. I have concluded my presentation of the functionalities of the portal, which can be used inside this project in order to test and that Anna Chiara was talking about before, project manager of the project. Thank you very much.
Grazie mille Danilo.
Thank you very much, Danilo.
Grazie per la chiara esposizione.
Thank you for the clear presentation.
Davvero molto comprensibile e saranno state felici.
It was very understandable, and the interpreters have been very happy.
Il linguaggio lento ha davvero aiutato tutti.
Because the way you talked was very understandable and clear.
Chiedo ai funzionari doganali presenti,
I'm now going to ask the customs servants present if they have
hanno necessità di
any questions or if they want to intervene.
Delle domande o comunque insomma dei commenti in
or if they have any
merito
comments
alla piattaforma che abbiamo appena
regarding the
presentato.
platform that we've just presented.
Cercheremo insomma nei tempi che la vostra pazienza consente di fornire delle
We will try
risposte.
to give you all the answers possible.
Invito insomma chi vuole, le agenzie delle dogane in particolare, a cominciare
Customs
magari
agencies in particular, if you have any questions, starting from the Italian one.
Roberto De Giuli magari
Dottor Roberto De Giuli, if you have anything to say.
Sì, grazie mille, Francesca.
Yes, thank you very much, Francesca. I would like to thank you, everyone, for the presentation of the project and of the platform. From a customs point of view, the platform has not been seen as the development of a project that must be used, but as something even more useful, such as a test on new methodologies which can be experimented upon in order to see which ones can be used in anti-fraud controls. One of the things that I think has been underlined by this platform regarding some tests that we've run confronting the data on the platform is that collaborating with abroad customs agencies and exchanging data is obviously an advantage that customs can have towards people who want to perform fraudulent actions. And this platform, which obviously has some limitations, but due to the testing phase and the application field, but also the limits, the administered limits that we have, which don't allow us to share some data, some kinds of data. Obviously, the more we exchange and share data, the simpler it is to run tests. But I would say that the experimentation has underlined how by confronting data, it is possible to couple most customs declarations. We've seen that the objective was to couple a customs declaration of export from the country of departure and a corresponding declaration in the arrival city, country. So this was possible in many cases. So from this point of view, we consider this a successful test. On the other hand, it's interesting to note the analysis of the images under 2 points of view. The first one, we save time in sharing these scanned images, because if we've scanned an image at export, before export, and Albania and Montenegro use ISACC, they can choose to trust our scanned images at export and save time and money so that they don't have to perform the same scanned. We've seen that this at the moment is not really happening, and it's been difficult to find a correspondence between an image scanned at export and the corresponding one at arrival time. But this reflects the status of things at the moment. Obviously, we hope there will be more collaboration, and we could also try to operate in this sense and try to, in specific circumstances, such as for certain goods or certain operators, to have these double images. I think this is an interesting result obtained by the platform. Regarding images, another interesting aspect is the one we asked the University of Salento and Advantech to develop, i.e. An algorithm of the analysis comparison in order to show us the anomalies inside a single image, so something that does not require the confrontation between two images, but AI algorithms, which are obviously still being developed and are not very efficient, but it's still a good beginning. So let's try to implement in our systems comparison images algorithms
sono appannaggio dei singoli produttori di scanner che hanno sì dei software proprietari che consentono di fare
because they're now being used only by private developers of algorithms.
Tutti questi sistemi rimangono all'interno
But
dei
all these
singoli
systems
scanner
remain
e noi
inside
li
single
abbiamo
scanners,
all'interno dei nostri sistemi di
and we have them inside our analysis
Se ci sarà la
systems.
possibilità di continuare con
We
questa
hope there will be the
sperimentazione,
possibility
per
of
implementare
continuing with
anche
this
nuovi
experimentation,
algoritmi, nuove tecniche di
also to
analisi
produce
delle
new
immagini,
algorithms and
potremo
new
comunque decidere, ognuno per conto
images to be
proprio, per
scanned,
carità, però di importare questo modulo
in order
software
to import
all'interno
this
dei
software
nostri
module inside
sistemi
our own
di analisi.
systems.
Detto questo, insomma, io ringrazio voi per il
So
supporto,
thank
ma
you
ringrazio
again,
ovviamente
everyone, for
anche
the
i
support.
colleghi delle
Obviously, the
dogane
colleagues of
albanesi e
the
montenegrine
customs
per
from Albania and
insomma
Montenegro
il supporto che ci hanno dato e
for
per
the
lo
support
scambio
they've
insomma
given us
di
and the
informazioni.
exchange of
Grazie
data.
Francesca, ti lascio la parola.
Thank you, Francesca. I'll give the floor to you.
Grazie mille, dottor De Giuli.
Thank you, Dr. De Giuli.
Nell'attesa di verificare che ci siano magari
While we're
altri
waiting for
interventi
other
o altre
questions
domande, io
for
vorrei
other
dire che
speakers,
verrà lanciato a breve
I would like to
un
say that we will
questionario
launch
di
a questionnaire,
valutazione da compilare prima
an evaluation
del termine
questionnaire
del
that you will be able
webinar,
to
quindi
fill in before the end of the
verrà
webinar.
lanciato, vi avviseremo,
So as
vi
soon as we have it,
ecco qui, sta partendo, vi
there it
avviseremo
is, it's popped up.
comunque
We will tell you
quando sarà terminato il termine, sarà
when the
terminato il
webinar
tempo per la
has
compilazione.
ended.
Io
You have time to
ringrazio,
complete the fields.
come già detto,
Confermo che il questionario è stato lanciato e si può
The questionnaire
compilare.
has been launched, so you can fill it in.
Perfetto, grazie
Okay,
Cinzia.
thank you.
Non so se ci sono altri funzionari, le altre dogane che
Other
ringrazio
custom
anch'io
servants,
per il supporto e la
which I also thank for the support and the
nella fase di
collaboration,
gestione di questo
even in the
webinar,
management process of this
albanesi,
webinar.
le dogane dell'Albania e del
So the
Montenegro. Non
customs
so se
from
ci sono
Albania
funzionari o
and
rappresentanti che vogliono
Montenegro.
intervenire con delle domande. Magari prego di scrivere in
If any
chat
of you
la
have any
domanda,
questions,
così
please write them in the
l'interprete
chat
può
so
tradurla.
the interpreters can translate them.
Diversamente io ringrazio tutti i partecipanti.
So thank you to all the participants.
Ringrazio Promos
And thank you,
Italia
Promos.
che ha gestito
Promos Italia, who has
l'organizzazione
managed
di questo
the
webinar,
organization of
tutto il
this
team
webinar.
di Promos.
So all the Promos team.
I partner che hanno
Thank you to the
collaborato
partners
alla
that have worked
realizzazione e soprattutto
in developing
Chiara
this,
Stefanucci
and Anna Chiara
in
Stefanucci
qualità di lead partner del
as
progetto,
lead partner
a
of the
cui
project.
magari do la parola
I'll
per
now give the
un
floor to her
saluto finale,
for
se
a
mi
last
sta
message.
ascoltando.
Certo, sono qui. Grazie,
Here I am.
grazie
Thank you.
Francesca e
Thank you,
grazie
Francesca.
davvero a tutti i
And thank you,
relatori
everyone,
per le loro
all the
presentazioni.
speakers for their
Spero
presentations.
esaustive e utili per
I hope they were
diciamo,
all
i
useful
partecipanti.
for all the
Ovviamente restiamo tutti
participants.
a disposizione per ulteriori
Obviously, we are available for
informazioni relative sia
any
al progetto
additional
ISACC
information
che alla
regarding
piattaforma, e
ISACC project
voglio
or the
ringraziare
platform.
anche tutti i partecipanti che si sono
And thank you to all the
collegati, che quindi
participants who
comunque
are
hanno
here today,
aderito a questa
virtually here,
prima iniziativa,
and who have adhered
e
to
colgo
this
l'occasione
first
ancora una volta
day
per
of
ricordare che ci
webinar.
saranno poi altri 2 appuntamenti
I remind again
schedulati
that
per
there are 2 more appointments,
questo
2 more meetings
venerdì
on
e
the
per la
18th
prossima settimana, il
and on the
18 e
22nd
22
of November.
quindi altre opportunità di formazione sempre in ambito doganale. In conclusione ancora un ringraziamento alla Camera di Commercio del Molise,
So thank you again to
Francesca,
the
tutto
Chamber
il
of
team
Commerce
e a
of
Promos
Molise,
Italia.
Francesca, and the whole team of Promos
A
Italia.
presto.
Grazie, grazie
Thank you.
mille Anna Chiara. Io non so se la compilazione del questionario è stata compilata.
I don't know if
la
everyone has
regia
completed the questionnaire.
un riscontro in modo da poter
I'm waiting for
salutare
a
tutti
feedback.
e chiudere la giornata.
Confermo che ho chiuso la raccolta dei
I
questionari.
confirm that the questionnaires
Perfetto,
have
allora
been
grazie a
completed.
tutti e
Okay,
ricordiamo,
perfect. Thank you very
come ha annunciato
much.
Anna Chiara, i webinar
So again,
del
a
18
reminder,
e del
the
22
webinar on the 18th and the 22nd of
agli
November
operatori del
is destined
settore
for the
trasporti, logistica
operators
e le imprese
of the logistic and transportation
esportatrici.
fields.
Grazie ancora
Thank you
e
again.
arrivederci.
Goodbye.